Talk Nation, welcome back. Let's get into it.
Become the oldest fighter to win a world welterweight title. Amazing accomplishment that I never thought I would accomplish. But know that God is good all the time. That's why I gave all glory to God.
What's up? What's up? What's going on, y'all? Man, I hope everybody is well. Hope everybody is blessed. Man, it's good to be back, man. Apologies, like I told you guys before, man. Your brother, you know what I'm saying, has went back to work. So therefore, man, the schedule has been off just a bit. I have been trying to put out a couple of shorts here, a little bit of content there, man. You know what I mean? Just so I can stay active. I do not like to be away from the platform for too long. But you know what? The show must go on. And speaking of the show, let's have a great one. So to the people that is involved in the chat, man, welcome. For the people who will be watching after the stream is over, welcome. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, welcome back. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the fight. But you know what? Even though the fight is over, there's still a lot to talk about. First of all, hats off to Anthony Joshua. Um, it's not easy to, first of all, lose your titles. Taking it back to Andy Ruiz Jr. when he upset Anthony Joshua. I mean, I know that was devastating. Then Anthony Joshua came back. He got his belts back. Then Usyk came into the picture and took his belts, devastating yet again. Which brought us to Usyk versus Joshua 2. Now, I told people, man, like Usyk, him going away to war, leaving boxing, well, temporarily leaving boxing, being in that environment, seeing his country, his countrymen and women going through everything that they have went through and still is going through. That is a lot on your shoulders. That is a lot to visually see, digest, and when you live it and you go through it every day, it's something different, y'all. You know what I mean? Like I'm prior military, so it's like once you are in these environments such as war, calamity, and you see certain things going on around you, I mean that shit changes you. And if you are a fighter, being in these environments, seeing these different things, I mean it does something to you. So Usyk came into this fight with a chip on his shoulder. And whether Anthony Joshua realized it or not, he not only had to deal with the boxer that is Alexander Usyk, but he also had to deal with the soldier that is Alexander Usyk. So Usyk coming into this fight, his mindset was going to be different. He's one of the best fighters in boxing, pound for pound, pound for pound. And I knew that the mental edge in this fight would have to go to Usyk. With him going over there, volunteering to go over there, first of all, to Ukraine and then coming back, and then not only coming back, but accepting a fight, a top tier fight with a high level competitor. Wow. I mean, that says a lot. That says a lot about who Usyk is as a fighter, as a person, as a man, and now as a soldier. And I knew for Anthony Joshua, and you know what I mean, I'm not gonna knock Anthony Joshua, man, you know what I mean? But I just know Anthony Joshua, he's a fantastic boxer. But the mental toughness is not something that he is known for. That's why he went out and got Robert Garcia because he wanted to become more aggressive. He wanted to kind of get that dog in him. But see, the thing that maybe Anthony Joshua didn't realize at the time is that that dog in you that fighters, especially high level competitors, have. I mean, that's just something that is a part of you. It's a part of your DNA, a part of your makeup. You know, what I mean, you was born with it, you live with it. Certain things that you went through in life have given you an edge in life. It is giving you that mental toughness. So if something happens, transpires, or whatever, whether it's by circumstances, fate, your own doing, or whatever, you're able to dig deep. You're able to dig deep and do or pull yourself out of whatever hole that you may be in. Anthony Joshua just doesn't have that. And that's really not a knock against Anthony Joshua. I mean, at all. So Robert Garcia, he did a fantastic job. And I said that leading up into the fight, all depending upon how the fight, I guess, I mean, how the fight played out. You know what I mean? Um, it may be Robert Garcia's fault, or it may not be Robert Garcia's fault. And being as though the fight went 12 rounds, because I had Usyk stopping Anthony Joshua, but the fight went 12 rounds. And I spoke about that also. If this fight go 12 rounds, you have to take your hat off, excuse me, to Robert Garcia. And being as though the fight went the distance, as I said, take your hat off to Robert Garcia. This was his first heavyweight that he trained. Unfortunately, he was not able to get the victory. But you know what? I really believe that Anthony Joshua can continue to get better with Robert Garcia. He showed some things in a fight, trying to press Usyk, going down to the body, and Anthony Joshua looked good, man. I mean, he did look good in spots. But Usyk is just the superior boxer, and with his head movement, and Usyk also has he does a lot of things from that southpaw stance that's difficult for an opponent to map out. And if you are not strategic mentally, which Anthony Joshua is not, it's going to be hard to dissect and break that down in the ring as you are fighting. Yes, you can go back to the corner and receive instructions, but huh, when a fight is going on, y'all, you know what I mean? You can't have somebody whispering in your ear. As a fighter, you have to be able to analyze, process, break down, download, and initiate your offense right there while you are in the ring. And Joshua just doesn't have that. His career, he was highly successful, but once he started to run into opponents that had better boxing ability, as long with punching power and movement, even Andy Ruiz, as big as he was, great boxer for a big guy, can move very well. So Usyk coming into this fight, skill wise, he was just better than Joshua. But Joshua, the bigger guy, has power. He still looked like he slimmed down a little bit more for this fight, but he just didn't have the skill. But he did add some tools to his toolbox that we saw in this fight. And I believe that if he continues to work on his craft and if he sticks with Robert Garcia, I truly believe that Anthony Joshua not only will be okay, but he will remain as a top heavyweight. Now, speaking about the top guys real quick, shout out to the Bronze Bomber. Shout out to Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. He is back in the game, back in the division, back in training. He's slated to face Robert Helenius, former sparring partner. Now it is his opponent. These guys know each other very well. Robert Helenius, after defeating Kalnacki, which Kalnacki, I mean, he's on a bit of a losing streak, but when Robert Helenius beat him, you know what I mean, he wasn't losing like that. And Kalnacki, you know what I mean, he's in the history book for throwing, you know what I mean, for being heavyweight, throwing the most punches in a round. So Kalnacki, even though he's on a bit of a losing streak right now, he's still a good competitor. But Deontay Wilder facing Robert Helenius, I mean, that's a good comeback fight. And depending upon if Deontay Wilder is successful, then you still have Joshua versus Wilder. And also, Andy Ruiz Jr. has won on record numerous times and said that he wants a shot at Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. So those are two big fights right there for Deontay Wilder if he is successful against Robert Helenius. But the Joshua fight is the fight that has been brewing and stirring for years. These guys have gone on record and said, I believe it was especially Anthony Joshua, even if he did not have a belt, he still wanted that fight. And guess what? He don't got no belt. and I'm sure he still wants that fight. And him being a top heavyweight, still a top heavyweight, that fight is there for him. But emotionally, Anthony Joshua has some. I mean, he has to get some things together. We've seen how he broke down. He was emotional. He started crying during the you know what I mean, during post fight press conference. He was highly upset. Um, Eddie Hearn tried to console him, but truth of the matter is, that's the sport of boxing. That's the business of boxing. It's pressure involved. It's high stakes, and it's always a lot on the line, especially if you're at the top of the game, if you're at a high level. And with Tyson Fury being somewhat retired, even though he's really not, we're going to get into that also. Smash that like button. But if Tyson Fury, matter of fact, he's out, so to speak. But after Usyk secured the victory, he went on record and says, "You know what? There isn't any other fights except Tyson Fury." So, will we have a unification for a heavyweight undisputed champion? We shall see. We shall see. Because whoever wins that fight, I mean, a lot of doors not only is going to open up, but going back to Wilder, if Wilder is able to defeat a Andy Ruiz Jr. or defeat an Anthony Joshua, I mean, that's going to put him right there in line to possibly face whoever has those belts. And could we possibly see a Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury for for undisputed heavyweight champion in the world? And there's no guarantee that Tyson Fury is going to beat Oleksandrusyk. I've already run on record and said I like Usyk against Fury. Yes, Fury is big, he's rangy, he's a mover, but Usyk is also highly skilled, great boxer, southpaw. He moves and he moves his head. So that pop and jab that Tyson Fury loves to do, he's not going to be able to constantly catch Usyk with that shot and disrupt Usyk with that shot. That's how Tyson Fury he disrupts and he prohibits a lot of his opponents from moving and shadowing him around the ring by just keep on constantly putting that jab out there. But Usyk, he has great head movement. He showed that when he fought Anthony Joshua. Can he record? Yes. It's the sport of boxing. But if you look at I guess a 1 to 100% ratio, if you can duck anywhere from 80 to 90% of those shots round by round to your head, I mean, you're doing pretty good. That's why Anthony Joshua, he started going to the body, trying to chop Usyk down, and he did have some success. But you could also tell that Anthony Joshua wasn't used to going to the body, but he trained to go to the body. But once he becomes more skilled at going to the body, it will become more fluid, it will become more natural, and he will get better at it. And once Anthony Joshua becomes a devastating body puncher, you look at a heavyweight version of Errol Spence. If he can get nice like that, because Anthony Joshua is a technical puncher. So if he can get more technical going to the body, Anthony Joshua is going to be devastating, man. You know what I mean? So that's why I hope he really doesn't get too down in the dumps. I know emotionally, I mean, this is a crushing loss. He now moves to 3 losses on his record, and those losses are to very viable and credited opponents. So he really shouldn't beat himself up too bad. Take a little bit of time, reset, get your mind right, get your body right, and you know what? Get back in the gym. And like I said, hopefully he stays with Robert Garcia. Um, and I believe that he will be okay moving forward into his professional boxing career. There are plenty of fights out there for Anthony Joshua, but he has to be willing to deep down. So that dog DNA, that dog gene that I was talking about earlier in the stream, this is Anthony Joshua's time. This is where he learns and he builds upon that. This is where he gets it from going through these losses, from getting better, from digging himself out, you know, emotionally out of the dumps. It takes a lot to do that. And this is what Anthony Joshua has to do. I know it's tough. I know it's hard because, like I said, when you have all this shit on the line and then you lose, I mean, that's like a, I mean, not only that's a devastating feeling, man, but it can make you feel like everything that you worked for was like for nothing. But you know what? That's a sport of boxing. This is where having a good team, this is where having a tight and positive circle is going to come into play. He's going to have his management, his team to really reinforce not only who Anthony Joshua is, but what is in front of Anthony Joshua. And what is in front of Anthony Joshua is a career, is a future. Yes, he does. Yes, he does have losses. I say this shit all the time, man. Just because you have losses, it does not mean that you're a bum unless you lost to a scrub. Then it may look kind of shaky. But the losses that Anthony Joshua has sustained, I mean, he lost from some of the best in the business. He lost to Usyk twice, and he lost to Andy Ruiz. Both of these guys, I mean, Usyk most certainly top five, number one, number two, as far as the heavyweight division. Andy Ruiz could be in the top five, maybe six, seven, depending upon, I guess, who list you may be looking at. But Andy Ruiz Jr. is a high level heavyweight, high level, hands down. And depending upon how he looks against Luis Ortiz, if he can do Luis Ortiz worse than Deontay Wilder did, then that's going to make Andy Ruiz and that Wilder fight look even more attractive. But that's not going to be an easy fight because talking about southpaw, just like Usyk is a southpaw, um, Ortiz is a southpaw also, and he has power. And yes, he is older, but at the same time, I mean, Luis Ortiz is, I mean, he's dangerous. He is dangerous. So if he doesn't approach this fight correctly, this is Andy Ruiz Jr. He could go into this fight against Luis Ortiz and something bad could happen to him. So he has to be smart. He has to be smart. He really has to look and go into this fight and not only be cautious, but he's going to have to be wary of his power because if he can't take Luis Ortiz's power, he has no chance at taking Deontay Wilder's power at all. So he's going to have to be real, real careful. But Anthony Joshua, Anthony Joshua, I mean, just to talk about that press conference, man. Like, I mean, actually, man, like when I'm looking at the press conference and you saw Eddie Hearn talking, I mean, I actually felt bad. I mean, I really did because, like, to see somebody like, I mean, Anthony Joshua, man, you know what I mean? Like, he was talking about, and even though he didn't say the name, you knew he was talking about Tyson Fury when he was talking about people went on social media and they was talking shit and saying a whole bunch of shit. And he was like, you know what I mean? Like his kid, like those people or people like that or fighters like that are not role models for his children and all this kind of stuff. And then he pointed at Anthony Joshua and he said, fighters like this, guys like this, these are the kind of people that my kids look up to. And you know what? That's a great compliment. And Anthony Joshua is that guy. You know what I mean? Like he's not um very braggadocious, you know what I mean? Definitely not a negative you know what I mean, fighter. He doesn't talk a lot of shit, you know what I mean? Don't try to play the tough guy role, you know what I mean? I mean he's a good brother. He's a good brother, good fighter. And I can respect that, you know what I mean? But I have to honestly say, man, like it was tough, man, like to see him break down and you know what I'm saying, to see him cry like that because at that moment I didn't see, I'm not gonna say like he was weak or that was a moment of weakness, but I really understood Anthony Joshua's pain because it was at that moment that he showed pretty much showed the world that you know what, not only am I human, but I lost again. And when you lose, especially on the level that Anthony Joshua lost, I mean, that's devastating. That's devastating. And a lot of people, unless you are on the top stages, you don't understand what these guys go through. You really don't. Especially, matter of fact, shout out to Deontay Wilder because he really brought introspection to the platform when he said, because he realized, you could tell he realized some shit. I mean, it's like boxing, yes, it is a sport, but it is becoming more of a business. And if you are not securing your business acumen, you know what I mean, then the sport of boxing will not only run you over, but it's going to take advantage of you. I mean, you just look back to when Anthony Joshua was undefeated, man. You know what I mean? When he was undefeated. You know what I mean? Like always wearing white. He was like the golden boy, the heavyweight division, always shining. You know what I mean? He was just, I mean, AJ was the man. He was the man. And then soon as he got that loss, and then soon as he got those losses, you just see everything changes. But Eddie Hearn, I mean, they have to remain by his side because shit contractually they obligated. Anthony Joshua, you know what I mean? Like he's under contract with his own. So Eddie Hearn has to protect his investment. He has to protect his investment. It doesn't benefit him to make Anthony Joshua look bad. He has to, by any means, build Anthony Joshua up. He has to make him look as positive and as good as he can. He has to, because by Anthony Joshua losing, that does hurt the DAZN brand. Just like when Canelo lost, that hurt. You know, I mean, it's the business, y'all. It's the business. So the business of boxing, that is what people don't understand. You know what I mean? Yes, we look at the fighters. Yes, we look at the sport. Yes, we want certain fights, talking about Spence and Crawford. But the business is what's preventing a lot of this shit from happening. You know what I mean? Like you heard sources say that it's a lot of powerful people in boxing that could be holding the Crawford and Spence fight up. Yes, there are certain things being put out as far as dynamics, as far as like, yeah, it could be the money, this side, this, whatever, whatever. But you have to look at the ramifications of one of these guys losing, excuse me, especially if it's Spence, because Spence is still signed with the PBC. Right now, Crawford is a free agent. And Spence to PBC, just like, you know what I mean, Canelo is to the zone or whatever. He's one of their best and top fighters, if not their best and top fighter. So if he loses, that hurts company stock. And when you lose to somebody like Terence Crawford, who is not, I guess, he's not aligned with anybody. He ain't with Top Rank no more. He's not with PBC. He's like literally on some Mikey Garcia shit. You know what I mean? Like from fight to fight, I fuck with who I fuck with. And in my opinion, that's probably the best way to be. That's probably the best way to be. I mean, this way you can kind of keep it honest with you know what I'm saying? I mean, with everybody, you can kind of keep things honest. And everybody have to keep it real and they have to you know what I'm saying, be honest with you, especially when you start talking about numbers and shit. Because if we do good numbers, okay. So now if we want to fight again, whether it's a rematch or you want me to face another one of your fighters, you know, you know how you got to come at me. You know what I'm saying? And with Terrence Crawford, Bud, I mean, he's learning the business side of it, and see, Bud is strong mentally, so that's why him and Bob Arum, it was inevitable they was going to bump heads. As smart as Bob Arum is, still the sport of boxing really involves the fighter kind of taking a short end of the stick. And if you are a mentally tough fighter, if you're strong willed, very opinionated, you ain't afraid to talk, then your skill level has to be high as shit. Because if it ain't, they'll put your ass on a shelf quick as hell. You know what I mean? But if your skill level is high and the fans want to see you fight and the whole world want to see you fight, then certain things going to have to change. And see, that's what Terrence Crawford knows. He knows that okay, I'm the best. I'm the best guy you got, and you're going to talk about me like this. You're not going to get the fights that I want and the fights that the fans want. Okay, I got to go. I got to go. And that's why, you know what I mean, when he beat Sean Porter after that, you know what I mean? When he took to the stage and he said what he said. You know what I mean? Like you saw, and I will never forget this shit, man. Like you saw Bob Arum face. Bob Arum was salty, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was salty because as far as the business is concerned, Top Rank just lost a very viable asset. But at the same time, Bob Arum, you have to eat. I mean, you have to reap what you sow. You said what you said. You did what you did. Now the situation is what it is. And Terrence Crawford, I'm out. I'm out. We had our chance. We had our run. I'm out. So now with him being a free agent, and I'm sure that he learned and is continuing to learn different avenues of the sport that's going to propel him forward. Because, like I said, you look at Errol Spence right now. He has the promoter hat on too. He's not only a fighter; he's also a promoter. You know what I mean? Shout out to Frank Martin. So he understands. Okay, I'm getting older. So now, not only I have to make sure that the bag that I secure financially is going to be right for me, for my family, for my future. But at the same time, I'm also looking at the end game. How many years left do I have in the game? How many? Because do I want to try to pull a Pacquiao? Do I want to box when I'm 40? And I believe Errol Spence already went on record and said he ain't trying to box when he's 40 years old. He ain't trying to do it. So if he ain't trying to box when he's 40 years old, guess what? He really had to start putting things in place now, just like fucking Keith Thurman. Everything Keith Thurman doing now, he's working on the Keith Thurman retirement plan. That's why he's trying to get that Spence fight. That's why he's trying to get that Crawford fight. He don't want. I don't give a damn what Keith Thurman say. He don't want Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence to fight because he wants to fight. He wants those options to be open because he wants to fight either one of them, and preferably, probably, I would say Spence because Spence he has all. You know what I'm saying? He has three. He has three belts and that will give Keith Thurman, you know what I mean, leverage. So if he's able to secure a Spence fight, that's a huge fight. That's a huge payday. Now that gives him a little more leverage if he was able to sit down with Terrence Crawford for an undisputed conversation. And I'm pretty sure the conversation will be different between Keith Thurman and Crawford opposed to Spence and Crawford. Because hypothetically, if Keith Thurman was able to beat Errol Spence, and then you go to the negotiation table with the Terrence Crawford to negotiate an undisputed fight, the talks and the money is not going to be the same because this is only your second fight or third fight at this point. You know what I mean? Back, so you're still building yourself up. Yes, you did come up and you for the golden fight, you were able to become a unified champion. But Errol Spence, his stock is what puts him at the A side in some people's opinion. His stock and what he has been doing as far as the fights that he has put on that's the reason why he wants blah 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 as far as the financial portion of the cake. Keith Thurman, he doesn't have that power. You can't compare the old fights that you have fought. You can't compare it. You have to compare what you're doing now. How active have you been in recent time, in recent years? How active? So Keith Thurman, I understand Keith Thurman. I understand his mindset, his way of thinking. But at the same time, he's working on that Keith Thurman retirement plan. Now, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, they are also working on their retirement plan, but it's a little bit different. It's just a little bit different because these guys are still at the top of the game, still at the top of the division. So they still, even if they win, excuse me, even if one of these guys lose, they still have very fruitful futures. But it is going to impact whoever loses this first fight. It is going to impact whoever loses this first fight because the welterweight division, I'm telling you, the one name that people that you always have to bring up, I mean, it's synonymous with the top guys of the welterweight division, and that's Jaronbootsennis. Second to that, you might want to say what Virgil Ortiz. So one of these two young guys, and Boots is always the name that everybody brings up when they talk about Crawford or when they talk about Spence. His skill set, in a lot of people's opinion, is beyond Crawford. It's beyond Spence. Crawford has went on record when he did, or especially when he did his last interview with Showtime, giving high praise to Jaronbootsennis, talking about he's a tremendous fighter. He's a great, has a great skill set. I've been watching him since the amateurs, so on and so forth. And you take it back to videos before that, he reached out. Excuse me. He kind of took a jab at Boots and said, "You know what? I'm a little bit smarter than Boots." But Terrence Bud Crawford, as I said this before in one of my videos, he is highly intelligent, highly intelligent and highly skilled. So for him to make a statement like that, whether it's a claim, a statement, or a fact, the fact is that it's true. He is intelligent. He is smart. So although Jerron Boots Ennis is young and he's also intelligent and he's also highly skilled, the fact is when these two guys fight each other, that'd be a great fight. And both guys have the skill set and the skill to be victorious. But I believe that Jerron Bootsennis, because Jerron Bootsennis is a big welterweight, and besides him being a big welterweight, he is highly skilled, has power in both hands, have great he had heads. I mean, great movement, highly athletic, highly intelligent. So once you start stacking up attributes, if you put him between Crawford and Spence, I mean, Boots is going to start to look like the favorite. If you take belts, if you take, I mean, past fights who I fought and all this to get to this point in my career, take all that shit away and just stack up skill for skill, talent for talent. And you look at who stands above these three. And then most likely will be Jerron Bootsennis. And he's young. He's 25 years old. So he had, I mean, Crawford, Spence, they probably got anywhere from what 7 to 8 years, you know what I mean, over Jerron Bootsennis, although they are still in great shape. But like I said, 8 years is 8 years. 9 years is 9 years. So by the time they fight, if they stay in the welterweight division or if they move up to 54, by the time they face a Jerron Bootsennis, they will be older. And Jerron Bootsennis still will be young. So, and the thing about Boots is, man, he's getting better. He's continually getting better. It's not like he's, you know what I mean, he reached the ceiling. No, man, Jerron Bootsennis is getting better. Jerron Bootsennis is constantly in the gym. Jerron Bootsennis is constantly working on his craft. If he fights on Friday, if he fights on Friday, let's just say, yeah, Monday, shit, I mean, 'cause Sunday, the brother in church. So Monday, he's probably back in the gym, sparring, helping somebody on pads or get prepared for their next fight, working with the kids, whatever. I mean, Jerron Bootsennis literally, I mean, eats, sleeps, and you know what I mean, boxing day in and day out. He stays in the gym. And it's hard to get the leg up on somebody like that, man. He's too dedicated. And that's one of the, just like when 50 Cent, you know what I mean, kind of, you know what I mean, take a different avenue from boxing real quick. 50 Cent said it, he said it himself, man. You know what I'm saying? Like he came up too fast. You know what I'm saying? When he dropped his first, you know what I mean? When he dropped his first, you know what I'm saying, LP that took off and went through the roof, you know what I mean? Like that. Then you look at his body of work after that album, and he said it himself. You know what I mean? The reason why it may seem like it was somewhat of a verbal decline as far as, you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean, those bars being the same is because, you know what I mean, it's like shit. Once you reach that certain level, especially if you reach that level of success, you know what I mean, so fast. I mean, sometimes people, you know what I mean, tend to fall off their game a little bit. Some people do that. And that's the question you have to ask about Spence, about Crawford. As highly skilled and as successful as they are and have been, but do they still possess that same hunger and grit and mentality that they did once they were climbing that proverbial ladder of success? Because if they still have it, then they will be dangerous for years to come. But in any way, if they have lost that, in any way, it's going to show. And it's going to show when they fight the right competitor. And right now, they believe it's each other. For Spence, it's Crawford. For Crawford, it's Spence. And when these two guys fight each other, we're really going to see what level are they on. Not only who's the best, because a lot of people saying this is going to be a war. This is going to be a war. And how many wars have you seen Spence in? I said it to date. In my opinion, his toughest fight probably would have to be, in my opinion, was the Sean Porter fight. Sean Porter not only put hands on Errol Spence, but I tell people this, and a couple people have went back and they watched the fight, and they said, you know what, dog, you was right. Trying to tell you. You go back and you watch the end of Porter Spence, Spence Porter, whatever, and you look at before these guys or whomever got their hand raised, and you saw doubt on Errol Spence's face. You saw uncertainty on Errol Spence's face. He was not sure that he was going to get his hand raised. I'm not going to say fear. I'd rather say uncertainty because he didn't know. Because he know that Sean Porter fought a hell of a fight, and the only deciding factor in that fight was one punch, and we all know what that punch was. When he caught Sean Porter coming in, and he caught Sean Porter, made him lose his balance, and his glove touched the mat. That's a knockdown. And he set him down on his pockets. Like Crawford set Sean Porter down on his pockets. That didn't happen. He pretty much lost his balance, you know what I mean? Caught himself. And Sean Porter glove damn near barely touched the canvas also. And he got back up and that was it. And that one moment in the fight is what secured the victory for Errol Spence. If that did not happen, Sean Porter could have won that fight. And nobody could have said, you know what, Errol Spence got robbed. That's how close that fight was. That's how well Sean Porter did. That's why to this day, Sean Porter can walk around like a shit don't stink when you talk about him fighting Errol Spence because he knows and everybody else knows that he fought a hell of a fight. And he arguably beat or could have beaten Errol Spence if it wasn't for that one moment in time. But that just shows you how important it is. Let me see, how can I put this shit? Um, how important it is that you always have to be on your A game in a fight, especially because you got to be in your A game when you fighting anybody. You get caught with the right shot at the right time, you can get hurt, put to sleep, knocked out, stopped, or hurt, or whatever. But when you are fighting, quote unquote, a high level competitor, an elite of your division, an elite of your time, you always got to be on point because one mistake that you make and at that precise moment in time, if they're able to capitalize on it, they can hit you with a shot, hurt you, knock you down, whatever. And that one moment can be the deciding factor if you win that fight or you lose that fight. Even if the fight continues to go the distance and ultimately they have to go to the cards. But that one moment that you had when you hurt your opponent, knocked him down or whatever, that can be the tipping point on somebody's card. That can be the tipping point. So that's why you always have to be vigilant in the ring. You always got to be sharp. You always have to stay on point. Now, when you talk about Spence and when you talk about Crawford, that is going to be the deciding factor when these two guys fight. Who gets hurt first? And whoever gets hurt first, how are they able to deal with being hurt? How quickly can they bounce back? Or if they can bounce back at all. Now, a lot of people have went on record and said that Terrence Crawford, man, like he's chinny, so on and so forth, yada yada yada. I mean, look, Bud ain't never been stopped. He ain't never been knocked out. I mean, and this is boxing. Everybody gets hit, everybody gets hurt, buzzed, stung, whatever. So to say that, I mean, to me, that really It makes no difference because everybody gets hit. Everybody can get caught with a nice shot, and you know what I mean, and get buckled a little bit. I mean, that's the sport of boxing, especially if you're facing somebody that has power, that is a precision hitter. If you have somebody that hits and don't waste their shots, have good leverage on their punches, look at a Charlo, you know what I mean, or an Errol Spence. I mean, you are going to get hurt if they catch you, especially if they catch you clean and they catch you flush. They are going to hurt you. So if you're able to bounce back and get your legs back underneath you from being hurt, then that says something about your constitution. And if you can continue in a fight, then that makes, in my opinion, that makes you even more dangerous because if you can take one of their best shots and you can survive it, now mentally your brain knows, okay, you don't want to get hit with that shit again. You know not only how that feels, but you know you can be hurt now. Their power is enough to hurt you. So now you have to fight a smarter fight. Pick and choose what you get hit by, as my uncle used to say. So going back to um, Tyson Fury, man, like Tyson Fury, like after the fight when he called their performance, Usyk and Joshua, he said basically, I mean, because in British terms they say shite, you know what I mean. But basically, you know what I mean, said they had a shitty performance, and I don't necessarily agree with that. You know what I mean. That's why Eddie Hearn was talking about people jumping on social media talking a whole bunch of crap, and he was talking about Tyson Fury. Like Tyson Fury is a special talent, man. He's a special talent. But I'm telling you, a lot of people may not agree with me, but I believe that Alexander Usyk can beat him. I can. I mean, I mean, I see Usyk beating Tyson Fury. I understand who Tyson Fury is. I understand what he does. He's big as hell, has great range, has a good jab, and ever since he got with Sugar taught him how to sit on his punches. That's how he wound up ultimately knocking out Deontay Wilder. Even though Deontay Wilder kind of set himself up for failure, especially for that last fight when he came in so heavy. So a part of that was also fatigue, and then the rest was just fury. That's why we see Tyson Fury, excuse me, we see Deontay Wilder now. Deontay Wilder is pretty much Deontay Wilder 1.0. You know what I mean? For two, he was 2.0 or shit, maybe 2.5 for Fury 3, but he went back to Deontay Wilder 1.0. So now this is the dangerous Deontay Wilder. You know what I mean? When this is the weight that he was knocking everybody else out. You know what I mean? Early in his career. So this is a very dangerous Deontay Wilder. You know what I mean? So Tyson Fury, him coming back to face Usyk, I mean, he really should think because once you jump back into the division, you have to look at it. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, Wilder's back, Andy Ruiz is there. You know what I mean? So, in my opinion, what's the point of coming back just to retire again? Or, you know what I mean? Like, no, if you're Tyson Fury, we all know that retirement speech or whatever was just bull. That's just basically you taking a long vacation. The right fight comes along, your ass will be back in the gym, and you know what I mean, your ass will be back in the ring. Let's just say what it is. So Tyson Fury should think long and hard about what will he be doing. Like I said, moving forward. If you're really retired, hey man, you know what I'm saying. I mean, get rid of that WBC belt. You know what I mean. Let somebody else. You know what I mean. Fight for it, and hopefully it's and I mean a top competitor, and let Usyk get his shot at being undisputed champion. But I believe if Usyk fights Tyson Fury, what Usyk does being a southpaw, his movement, he has a good gas tank. I can see him disrupting, and I can see him beating Tyson Fury. That jab, you know what I mean, that popping jab that Tyson Fury loves to throw to disrupt his opponents, to try to set them up. You know what I mean, to get that right hand in there. I mean, Usyk has great head movement. Plus, Usyk, he moves a lot. Besides his head movement, he always is on the move. His feet is always moving. His head, his feet, his body is always moving. So I could see Usyk possibly tiring Tyson Fury out. That's how much he's going to be fucking moving in that fight. And being as though he's the smaller guy, Tyson Fury is the bigger guy. Usyk probably is going to have a better gas tank. So I look for Usyk. You know, what I mean, to put, I mean, he's going to be moving a lot. He's going to be on his bicycle, but he's not going to be running. He's just going to be moving, moving. turn to Tyson Fury, turn to Tyson Fury, throwing shots. And Usyk, he throws shots from weird angles and shit. Even when he's moving, he throws, you know what I'm saying, shots from his up jab to the jab. You know what I'm saying? When he's moving to his left or his right, he's always throwing some shit, you know what I mean, to disrupt you. Or you know what I'm saying, throw that straight left hand to the body, you know what I mean, come up and try to hit you with that up jab. Being in Tyson Fury is so damn tall, that up jab is something that he's going to use a lot on Tyson Fury. He's going to use that punch a lot on Tyson Fury. And Usyk is very effective at throwing that punch and masking it to get his straight left hand off. So I'm telling you, man, like Usyk does some shit that he will do some shit to Tyson Fury. So Tyson Fury, I mean, he should, you know what I mean? I'm telling you, man, like it'd be a huge payday. But look at that fight apart from the money, and you really look at it skill for skill, the type of skill set that Usyk has and Tyson Fury, y'all know that's going to be a good fight. You know what I mean? That's going to be a very, very, very good fight. And I don't see Tyson Fury's height being a factor, because in order for him or his height to be a factor, that means that Usyk is going to predominantly have to be standing in front of him. And Usyk is not going to stand in front of Tyson Fury the whole damn fight. So basically, he's not going to be kept at bay. He's not going to be kept at range with that jab. He's going to be moving. He's going to be moving. And all he has to do is just chop up his movement, get off of that straight line. All he has to do is get off that straight line. And as soon as Tyson Fury begins to move off his line, that's when Usyk initiates and throws a shot. You know what I mean? That's all he has to do. That's all he has to do. So that's going to be a super explosive fight, man. Because like I said, man, I mean, the heavyweight division, man, is heating back up, y'all. It is heating back up, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, Wilder and Joshua, that will be Anthony Joshua's next fight. Watch and mark my words. If he chooses, this is Anthony Joshua. If he chooses to fight another top tier competitor, I mean, opposed to that, you know what I mean, that comeback fight shit, you know what I mean? Like, no. In my opinion, he doesn't need a comeback fight. He just needs to take a little break, get his mind right, because he did just receive another devastating loss. But you know what? That's boxing. You lost to the guy again who beat you the first time. So that just means that Usyk is a better fighter than you. That's all. That's all. That is really not a knock against Anthony Joshua. Hopefully he realizes that. So now that's the whole purpose of rematches, to find out who is the best between the two. The first fight could have been whatever. Fluke, man, you know what I mean? Somebody won, whatever. But once you guys have a rematch, and a guy who beat you the first time, if he beats you again, hey, hats off to him. That just you the better man. You're the better man. So now Anthony Joshua has to be the better man, the better competitor, and the mature competitor, and just say, you know what, Alexander Usyk, he has my number. He's a better fighter than I am. That's it. But guess what? Anthony Joshua is a better fighter than some of the other heavyweights in the division. Stylistically, Usyk just has your number. He's just a better fighter. That's it. But Anthony Joshua, he's going to fight a different fight. He's going to look different if he goes in there and he fights somebody like Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz, Andy Ruiz, even Tyson Fury, whatever. He will look different if he fights any other heavyweight. He just happens to look the way he looks when he fought Usyk because of the styles. And if Usyk fought anybody else, guess what? He's also going to look different. And I spoke about this before too. Usyk is also going to be in better shape. He's going to be in better shape. He did get in shape for this fight when he fought Joshua. Most certainly did. Came back from the battlefield. And I told y'all, man, like for me being prior military, like I knew even though he was at war, you know what I'm saying? Like he was still doing PT. And that train, I mean, that's like physical training, in case y'all already know. But he's still over there doing PT. So it's like he may not be doing boxing drills, but he's still working out. I mean, jogging, doing push-ups, sit-ups, and shit. I mean, you can get anything and you can make some fucking jump rope. You know what I mean? So you could probably still jump in the rope. So he was still doing things to keep himself in shape. That's why when he came back from Ukraine, he didn't have to get into the gym and lose a ton of weight. Literally, he can just get into the gym and start training and preparing and game planning for his fight with Anthony Joshua. And that's exactly what he did. But now that he's back from the battlefield, now whichever fight that they may have on the horizon or whichever fight that they may make for Oleksandrusyk, now he's not coming back from the battlefield. Now he's already home. He's already back. So now he can just get right into the gym and start preparing himself from diet to training to whatever conditioning. He can start preparing himself right now for his next fight. And if his next fight potentially could be Tyson Fury, then guess what? You already know what is in front of you. And Tyson Fury already went on record and said, get your checkbook ready. Get your checkbook ready. So look, Fury, Usyk, make the fight. Let's get a undisputed heavyweight champion. Deontay Wilder, that was always his dream. He said like, one face, one champion. You know what I mean? Instead of having all those belts around, you know what I mean? One face, one guy should have all the belts. That's the dream that Deontay Wilder he always wanted. But unfortunately, he wasn't successful in seeing that dream come to fruition. But guess what? He's back in the division, and you never know what the future can hold. You never know what the future can hold. Deontay Wilder, if he plays his cards right, and you know when it comes to the PBC, he is a player in the PBC, especially as far as heavyweight. So you know Al Heyman and company, they're going to do right by Deontay Wilder. And if he wants to be a champion again, Deontay Wilder will be a champion again. And if somebody gets all those belts, I'm telling y'all now, and especially if Deontay Wilder is winning, he will get a shot at whoever becomes undisputed heavyweight champion. He will get his shot. If they don't relinquish those titles by moving up, leaving the sport, whatever, Deontay Wilder will get a shot at that undisputed title. I guarantee it. And mark my words, it's already being, I mean, the shit that they're already dropping the breadcrumbs. His first fight is with Robert Helenius. If he beats Robert Helenius, now they're talking about Wilder versus Joshua. If he faces Joshua and if he beats Anthony Joshua, and God forbid, but if he fights Anthony Joshua and he knocks Anthony Joshua out, I'm talking about cold. From the losses that Anthony Joshua has had, from Andy Ruiz to Usyk twice, and he faces Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, and Deontay Wilder knocks Anthony Joshua out cold, flatline. I'm telling y'all, he may retire. That may be it. Mentally, he will be crushed because he's lost 3 fights, but he is, you know what I'm saying, like he got, you know what I mean, knocked out by you know what I mean, Andy Ruiz, whatever. That's different from being knocked out. Knocked out cold. Wilder cannot Anthony Joshua out cold, put him to sleep. If that happens, we may see the end of Anthony Joshua and the momentum of not only defeating and knocking out Anthony Joshua, but him actually retiring and leaving the sport. That is going to skyrocket Deontay's Wilder. I mean, that's going to skyrocket his stock. And if he's able to, let's just say after that, either secure a shot or let's just say him and Andy Ruiz Jr., if they fight and he gets another knockout, if he knocks out Andy Ruiz, guaranteed his next fight is going to be for a title. He's going to get a shot at whoever's the current, you know what I mean, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, whether it be Usyk or fucking Fury. And if it happens to be Fury, look for Fury Wilder 4. Look for Fury Wilder 4. And I mean, you could pretty much see the whole fucking mock up for it now. You know what I mean? I beat you one. I beat you on once, you bum. I beat you twice. I beat you 3 times. I beat you 4. Yeah, I mean, you can already see the build up and the build up can already play out in your mind because I mean, we seen it for three fights already between Fury and for Wilder. But I truly believe if Wilder fought Tyson Fury again, if he just do what he did on the first fight, if he catches Tyson Fury like he did when he caught him the first time, yes, let's skip all that rising like the Undertaker shit. But if he catches Tyson Fury just like he caught him before, Wilder can win that fight. He can win that fight. And if he learns how to just not to be fucking wild, to be a little bit more patient when he's trying to finish somebody off, you know what I mean? Like Wilder will be fucking fine. And he is still with Malik Scott. That's also big. So from him losing that knockout loss to Tyson Fury, he didn't basically say, you know what, I got to get me a new trainer and all that. No, he still is with Malik Scott. So that means that all the shit that Malik Scott was trying to teach Deontay Wilder, he still has the opportunity not only to teach Deontay Wilder, but it's a good chance that some of that shit that he was teaching him is starting to stick. So believe me, when Deontay Wilder took that little sabbatical and he was away from boxing, remember Deontay Wilder got a fucking gym at his house, which they built when he was fighting Tyson Fury. So he was still fucking working, in my opinion. He was still working. Look how he lost that weight. You know what I mean? But yet he still looks good. So that just shows that even though he wasn't boxing, he was doing music and doing the different ventures with his fiance and all that. But at the same time, Deontay Wilder was working quietly and secretly. So Deontay Wilder, man, like if he was able to pick up a couple of things and get some of them things that he was working on, and I guess Fury Wilder 2 and Fury Wilder 3, if he's able to bring that into the fight with Robert Helenius, and we're able to see some different characteristics from Deontay Wilder in that fight, then I'm telling y'all, man, like the sky was is literally will be the limit for Deontay Wilder. He will literally be back at the top of the heavyweight division. Shit, he already is. He already is, and he just came back. How what kind of shit is that? He left the division. Oh shit. Damn, dude, boy, I'm up here. I'm up here. I miss your comments, dog. I was up here, fucking, OMG. I'm still in shock. Made Leon Edwards KO Usman. Lord have mercy. You talking about UFC? What up, real talk? What's up, boy? Hey, my bad, dog. You know what I'm saying? I was up here, you know what I'm saying? I was up here, zoning and shit, dog. You know what I'm saying? Those said, I like Tyson Fury in that Usyk fight, but he is going to give Fury some problems. But at the end of the day, Tyson gets the job done and retires. But Joshua is done because I think Wilder will beat AJ. Yeah, dog. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what I mean? Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was good. Even I apologize, my brother. You know what I'm saying? My bad though for missing your comments, bro. But you know what I mean? You was already online with the conversation and shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we will see Tyson Fury fight Wilder again because the only thing Tyson Fury wants to be undisputed and retire. Um, I mean, I mean, in my opinion, if he does that, that's kind of fucking nutty. That's just in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with you know what I mean with him being becoming undisputed and shit. But you know what I'm saying? Like, why come back, dog? You know what I'm saying? Just to be undisputed and then fucking retire. You know what I mean? Like at least have one, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, title defense. At least one. You still in the books, you still going down as history for being undisputed, you know what I mean? But don't do it just to become undisputed and then fucking retire. That's fucking nutty. You know what I mean? That's fucking nutty as shit. At least defend your titles one time. If he defends his titles at least one time, then it's a good chance that he could fight Wilder, Andy Ruiz. You know what I mean? And chances are it's going to be one of those two. Chances are it's going to be one of those two. If Tyson Fury came back to the sport and he fought for undisputed, and that's if he beat Usyk. Because I'm telling you, man, you know what I mean. I really see Usyk fucking beating Tyson Fury, dog. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he's shorter than Tyson Fury. I get it because that's the first thing people go talk about is the fact that he's shorter than Tyson Fury. He's a smaller guy and all that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, man, for some reason I look at Usyk's skill set. I look at what Usyk does in the ring. Him being a southpaw, him also having power, him being fucking tricky and unorthodox. His movement is fucking different. You know what I mean? I can see him giving Tyson Fury problems. I can see him giving Tyson, and the thing that sets people up for failure when it comes to um fucking uh Tyson Fury is his jab. You know what I'm saying? If he cannot pop shot Usyk with that jab and keep Usyk offset, off rhythm, then it's going to be a tough fight for Tyson Fury. If Usyk can, you know what I'm saying, Usyk can keep his head, if Usyk can keep his head movement up, you know what I mean? Slip shots, keep turning them. You look at what Usyk did to Anthony Joshua, bro. You look at what Usyk did to Anthony Joshua. He kept, I mean, that movement, it gave AJ problems. You know what I'm saying? But I have to say, AJ, as far as mobility, he not the same as Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is a better mover than Anthony Joshua. I will have to give him that. But see, with Tyson Fury, he's going to have to move more than what he traditionally does when he fights Usyk, and that could work out to Usyk's favor. You know what I mean? That could probably wind up heating, especially if the fight go 12 rounds. By the sixth to eighth rounds, Tyson Fury is going to be fucking tired, bro. His legs is going to be fucking tired. Fuck around with Usyk. If Usyk, you know what I mean, just keeps on moving them, turning them. You know what I mean? At the same time, when Usyk is moving and turning, Usyk is throwing punches. I looked at that shit when he was fighting Anthony Joshua, man. Like every time that Usyk he moved and he turned Anthony Joshua, he was also throwing punches. He wasn't allowing Joshua to get, you know what I mean, to get set. And if Usyk does that same shit to Tyson Fury, man, he's going to be successful because Fury is so fucking big, bro. And by Fury being so big, that could be his downfall. Because I'm telling you, man, like Usyk, he's going to throw that straight left hand to the body. He's going to attack his body. And this is Tyson Fury. He's going to attack him, but he will keep turning them, moving them, going downstairs to the body, using that up jab that he throws. You know what I mean? Usyk, he throw. I seen him hit Anthony Joshua like three different type of jabs. Hit him with the, you know what I'm saying, the short poppy jab, the regular jab, and that up jab. He kept on working Anthony Joshua. And with Tyson Fury, it's good, and Fury is bigger. And that up jab is really going to come into play when he fights Usyk. It really is going to come into play when he fights fucking Usyk, bro. I'm telling you. And that fucking hold on. Because if you look at it, the promoters they love Tyson Fury. Yeah, like Frank Warren and them, yep. But Tyson Fury got some head movement with some footwork. Um, yes, but I have to say this. Tyson Fury does have head movement, but see, when you look at Tyson Fury and when you look at Tyson Fury with that head movement, generally he's doing it from another opponent being on the same line as him. If you look at Deontay Wilder, he was big as shit. Deontay Wilder, you know what I'm saying? He ain't that much shorter than fucking Tyson Fury. Usyk is shorter than both of them. So Usyk, I mean, that head movement that Tyson Fury has the ability to do, you know what I'm saying? It's harder, you know what I mean, to do that shit when you're fighting against a shorter competitor. You know what I mean? Because the shorter competitor, his punches is already coming from a lower elevated position. You know what I mean? So Tyson Fury is going to drop that head, trying to slip a punch, and fuck around, get caught with an uppercut. You know what I mean? That's why I said um, though, remember Tyson Fury was going to fight AJ for undisputed, but I think Fury would have took took him to school. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, Fury against Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua is too fucking robotic, bro. You know what I mean? He's too robotic. That's why you could tell that Robert Garcia, that was something that they worked on in the preparations and the training for the fight was his mobility. If you looked at Anthony Joshua, he slimmed down a little bit. You know what I mean? He lost some of that bulk. You know what I mean? To try to be a little bit more mobile, a little bit more quicker, a little bit more slicker. Um, and to a degree, it did work. But you know what? I looked at Anthony Joshua and I just had to come to a realization, just like he is going to have to come to a realization that he is just not a mobile fighter, bro. You know what I mean? Anthony Joshua is just not a mobile fighter. He does have quickness with his hands, but he's not an explosive and a fast puncher. And as far as his movements with his legs, he is just a robotic fighter, bro. You know what I mean? He doesn't have yeah, I mean the fluidity aspect of his movement is not there. You know what I mean? And at this point of the game, that's not some shit that he can learn. You know what I mean? That's just your mechanics. That's your biological, physical mechanics. That's what makes Tyson Fury such a freak because he doesn't have to learn the shit that he does. The shit that he does is fucking natural. His movements, his slickness, his ability. You know what I'm saying? That shit is just genetic. You know what I'm saying? Like these motherfuckers really come from some ancient gypsy bare knuckle fighting type shit. You know what I mean? Like that, if you look at Tyson Fury, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how that motherfucker fight, dog. You know what I mean? I feel like I forgot that name of that fucking movie and shit. When Brad Pitt, he was the fucking gypsy, you know what I'm saying? But he was like the bare knuckle fighting champion and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like like it's like that shit is literally in his fucking DNA, dog. You know what I mean? So that's why you can't train or somebody can't train you how to fight like Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury, that's his natural. That's his natural ability. That's why it's one thing you can train a fighter, but when a fighter has natural fucking God given talent and ability, especially as far as power and speed and movement. Prime example, the first fighter that came to my head was Manny Pacquiao. Was Manny fucking Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao has natural speed, natural power, natural movement. You know what I mean? And Freddie Roach, he just took all that and he just taught Manny how to box. And then once you just add all the rest of that shit, you know what I'm saying? That's what made Manny Pacquiao become the Manny Pacquiao he was before he retired. But before Manny Pacquiao got with Freddie Roach, I mean, he already had the natural God given movement, speed, and power. He already had it. Freddie Roach just made him a better boxer. AJ, he's a naturally big dude, you know what I mean? Naturally strong guy. He's what you call Anthony Joshua is your typical heavyweight. He has size, he has power, you know what I'm saying? He has height, but he's just not fast. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have that speed of a Joseph Parker or Andy Ruiz. You know what I mean? He's more of the you know what I mean, more of the clunkier, you know what I'm saying, heavyweights and shit. You know what I mean? And it's not his fault. And like I said, it's just genetics. But at the same time, he has won a lot of fights with those mechanics. But unfortunately, once you fight an opponent that has I guess better mechanics, you know what I'm saying, better speed, better boxing ability, then they're going to exploit those attributes and they're going to capitalize on those attributes. That's what Andy Ruiz did, you know what I'm saying? And also that's what Usyk did. So basically, you know, that is Anthony Joshua's Achilles heel, somebody that has better boxing ability and also better speed. If you have better speed and better boxing ability, then you can pretty much, you know what I'm saying? I mean, damn near dominate Anthony Joshua. That's what makes a fight between AJ and Wilder so intriguing because guess what? Wilder is not a great boxer. He doesn't box at all, really, even though he has a good jab, a good 1-2, a nice left hook, and a decent uppercut. But he's not traditionally a boxer. I say Deontay Wilder is a fighter. He's a fucking fighter. You know what I mean? And he has explosive power, which is the ultimate fucking neutralizer. You know what I mean? No matter what you can do, no matter what you can do, that power, you can't get away with it. Doughboy says Deontay Wilder is not a boxer. To me, he's more like a street fighter. Exactly. This is why Floyd Mayweather said, let me train you. Deontay Wilder said no. Um, well, I mean, I can understand why Deontay Wilder said no because number one, um, I think Deontay Wilder he realizes and he knows, and I just got finished saying this shit in the video. It's like you can't teach an old dog new tricks, especially if you can't teach somebody something that physically they cannot do. And I honestly think that physically it's hard for Deontay Wilder to become a boxer, like you said, and like I just said. You know what I'm saying? He's just more of a fucking fighter. Deontay Wilder is a fucking fighter through and through. He's a fighter. You know what I'm saying? He is a fucking fighter. You can say like a fighter of old. And like I said, his foot. If you look at Deontay Wilder from the bottom up, his footwork and his stance is too wide. I've always said that shit. Like his stance is like a karate motherfucking man. Like he's trying to do martial arts and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to hit niggas with leg kicks or side kicks and shit. That's how Deontay Wilder. That's how his stance is and shit. You know what I mean? He needs to shorten up his stance, and then just shortening up his stance would give him better mobility. But being as though that's not in him to do, that's why he never does it. And it's hard for you to train somebody like that because end of the day, especially once they get hurt or once they get in trouble, what do? They always revert back to what they know. Joshua did it when he fought Usyk. You know what I mean? Every fighter does it. You know what I mean? You always revert back to what you know. You pick up things or you work on things in camp to try to exploit things in your opponent. But once you get hurt and once you, I guess, try to do some shit to your opponent that you see that shit ain't working, you always revert back to what you know. And sometimes you can still get it done. It may take you longer, but sometimes you can still get it done. And sometimes it don't work. And eventually your opponent wind up, you know what I mean, out thinking you, out moving you, out boxing you, outpointing you, and they wind up, you know what I'm saying, winning the fight via stoppage, knockout, whatever. Now, like I said, um, Deontay Wilder with AJ would be the better boxer in that fight. But Wilder would be the more explosive puncher in that fight. But don't get it fucked up because, like I said, the way that Anthony Joshua moves, like I said, those clunky movements and shit, that's perfect for Wilder because what's his bread and butter? That 1-2. And Anthony Joshua can stand in front of Deontay Wilder long enough for him to get that 1-2 off. And that's all Deontay Wilder needs. If he can catch Anthony Joshua with that 1-2, I'm telling you, not only can he hurt Anthony Joshua, but he can knock him out. Because Anthony Joshua was getting touched by Usyk. And Usyk is not a power puncher. Usyk is a volume puncher. You know what I mean? Most of his knockouts come, you know what I'm saying, from volume shots. Now, Wilder, if he catches AJ with some of them same one punch shots that Usyk was touching him with, man, Anthony Joshua, bro, is going to be knocked down or knocked out, or he's going to be hurt. You know what I'm saying? You seen what Andy Ruiz did. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if Wilder catches fucking AJ in the temple with that hook. Anthony Joshua is going to be fucking bouncing around the fucking ring, cuz, and the ref is going to know as soon as Deontay Wilder swarming in and start turn. Yeah, I mean, he will turn to the fucking Tasmanian devil and shit, man. Start swarming Anthony Joshua with punches and shit, and he's going to wind up getting stopped. If Wilder and Joshua fights, that fight ends two ways: by stoppage or by knockout. That fight ain't going 12 rounds, bro. If Wilder and Joshua fights, that fight ain't going 12 rounds. Somebody getting stopped or knocked out. The boy said, Wilder right hand is too powerful. Exactly, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Say what you and see, just like I said though, his right hand is his trump card. And everybody fucking know it. Everybody fucking know it. But see, at the same time though, to keep the, you know what I'm saying, to keep it 100, he also has, um, I mean, like I said, you look at it when he fought Fury, bro. You know what I'm saying? He also has a sneaky good left hook and a sneaky good uppercut. And I've said this for the longest time. With Deontay Wilder, all he has to do is just work on, I guess, a couple of other shots besides his right hand. Give opponents different looks. Okay, your mobility, your slickness, that may not be there as far as your footwork, but as far as your physical arsenal, meaning your punch selection, if you can just work on, or if you can just have something better than a 1-2, if you can have, I mean, if you develop that left hook or you develop that uppercut, Deontay Wilder will be dangerous. I mean, he's already dangerous, but he will be even more dangerous. And like I said, those shots really will become his bread and butter for when he hurts his opponent, because if he hurts his opponent with that right hand and they get all fucked up, you know what I mean? They turn, you know what I'm saying? They start doing the stanky leg and shit. The first thing that your opponent and anybody in the world think you're going to do is try to load up on another right hand. But guess what? You know what I'm saying? You can shock, you know what I mean? Shock them, shift them up, and then you can hit them with that uppercut or hit them with that left hook. Because I tell people all the time, man, the uppercut is one of the best punches besides your jab and boxing, because it's so effective at, you know what I'm saying, closing range, closing distance, you know what I mean, from the inside, outside, whatever. And Anthony Joshua, he also threw, I got to get at the Anthony Joshua. He does throw a nice uppercut, and he tried to throw that shit with Usyk, but I mean that shit ain't work. Usyk was dipping that shit. He was dipping that shit. But that's why I said he was the shorter guy. So Usyk, and I don't know why people don't be understanding that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? But if you just, it doesn't matter all the time if you're the shorter fighter. If you are a skilled fighter and you're the shorter guy, and if you're intelligent, you can use that to your advantage. Certain shots, it's harder for your opponent to get certain shots off if you're the shorter guy. And the uppercut is one of them. You know what I mean? Because Anthony Joshua is the bigger guy, has bigger range as far as his reach. So when he throws that uppercut, Anthony Joshua, he kind of loads up when he throws the uppercut. So he kind of telegraphs that shit. You know what I mean? He needs to throw that shit from an angle. He literally digs and try to hit that. He try to hit you like, you know what I mean, like on some Street Fighter shit. And Usyk seen that shit a mile away. Now Deontay Wilder, he may get fucking caught with that shot. If Deontay Wilder get caught with that shot, Deontay Wilder, he can get fucking hurt, man. Or possibly, you know what I'm saying, knocked out. Luis Ortiz, you know what I'm saying, caught him with, you know what I'm saying, similar shot and fucking had Wilder fucked up. You know what I mean? So he has to be careful when he fights somebody like you know what I'm saying, Anthony Joshua, man. But I'm telling you, that can be a great comeback shot, or excuse me, a great comeback fight for Anthony Joshua facing Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is still a top five heavyweight, still a big name, still a great name, and it's a huge payday. But even though Anthony Joshua can win that fight is still dangerous. So that's what makes AJ versus Wilder. I mean, that fight I mean, that's a great fight, bro. I don't care how you look at it, because Anthony Joshua can beat Deontay Wilder. Can't argue that. Anthony Joshua can beat Deontay Wilder, but don't get it fucked up, because Wilder can also beat Anthony Joshua. So that's a 50-50 fight. And Wilder having the power that he has, and it may give him a slight edge because Anthony Joshua is a bit chinny. You know what I mean? He's been shooken up by people who have less power than Deontay Wilder. So if Deontay Wilder catches Anthony Joshua with the shot like Andy Ruiz caught him with, or if he catches him with a shot like Usyk caught him with, bro, he's getting knocked out. He is getting knocked out. He's going to get hurt. He may get stopped, or he's getting knocked out. That's why I said I don't see that fight. It's impossible that fight goes the distance. That fight is not going the distance. If Wilder and AJ fight, bro, somebody is getting stopped or knocked out. And I give them both that opportunity. AJ has the ability to possibly stop Wilder or knock him out if he catches him right, because AJ is the better boxer. So he can put Wilder in a position, or, you know what I mean, by possibly turning him. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, Wilder and Joshua, this is the fight where, how can I put this shit? Anthony Joshua's lack of mobility will actually look good against his opponent. And that's what Wilder, because Wilder, like I said, with him having that wide stance and shit, you know what I'm saying? When Wilder transitions his footwork, he brings that rear foot, you know what I mean, which is, you know what I'm saying, his anchor foot, his pivot foot, that shit is always in the back. And here he has to whip that shit to the side when he's trying to turn. And see for AJ, he'll have a better movement in that fight. And if he catches Deontay Wilder in transition while he's turning, man, he can catch Deontay Wilder with some shit. You know what I'm saying? And if he catch him with a nice 1-2, meaning a left hook or an uppercut, man, Deontay Wilder may get knocked out in that fight. So that fight, man, is going to be, you know what I'm saying, very good, man. That fight is going to be very good. And they said it's gonna happen. So I hope that fight does happen. Yeah, so if that fight happens, man, that will be a besides Usyk and Tyson Fury, that will be a fantastic heavyweight matchup. I mean, that's probably three of the biggest fights in the heavyweight division: Usyk versus Fury, AJ versus Wilder, and possibly Andy Ruiz versus Wilder also. So that's three. I mean, that's three big fights at heavyweight that will be phenomenal, and that can happen. Will they happen? We have no idea. You know what I'm saying? You know how boxing is. Boxing like a fucking twilight zone. Sometimes shit happens. Sometimes shit doesn't happen. We shall see. But you know what I mean? With that said, man, it look like we're going to wrap this up, man. I appreciate y'all. And y'all, you know what I'm saying? Come back, holler at your boy on the next one. But I'm telling y'all, man, like this is gonna be I mean, it's gonna be a great fight, man. It's gonna be a great fight. You know what I mean? So Anthony Joshua, keep your head up. He's still a top five heavyweight. Still a top five heavyweight. Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Him being back in the game, that shakes up the heavyweight division a bit. And like I said, depending upon what he does with Robert Helenius and what he does moving forward, if he secures the Anthony Joshua fight, that's probably one of three top fights in the heavyweight division besides Usyk and Fury. You have AJ versus Wilder, and like I said, Andy Ruiz versus Wilder. So Wilder has some options, man. He just came back to the division, and he has great options. Fuck paydays, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we talking about strictly fights. Those are two great fights for Deontay Wilder. So if he beats Robert Helenius, I mean, Deontay Wilder, his next fight is going to be Andy Ruiz if he knocks off Luis Ortiz, or it's going to be Anthony Joshua. It's going to be Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? Hands down. So, um, smash that like button on your way in. But we are most certainly about to wrap this up, though. You know what I mean? So I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go out on that.